Kia ora, good evening. So I was asleep a little while ago and I got woken up and saw the most incredible prophecy coming true right in front of my eyes. It was hilarious. It's all there in the post. I'm not going into it. Oh, I know how this ends, so I'm not worried. But anyway, I had a dream and yeah, I dreamt I was on the movie set of a movie about four men, well, about three men helping another man deal with his divorce. And I was asking, for some reason, Ben Stiller for advice on how to write the movie. He isn't, he wrote two of my favourite movies of all time, Zoolander and Mystery Men. I love Mystery Men so much. It's one of the greatest, most underrated movies of all time. And it's one of those movies I could watch every week and not get sick of it. Oh, excuse me. But I was on the set directing this movie, and Ben Stiller was there, and I was asking him for writing, directing advice. But it was the story of this man going through a divorce, and his three best friends find out, and they decide to all drop what they're doing and go to this friend for support. And it's a comedy, and it's kind of like The Hangover, sort of like it's sort of written in the same sort of comedy vein as The Hangover. But oh, excuse me, it's the man's side of the story. Like, it was because when I woke up, I was thinking, isn't this storyline a bit formulaic? But then when I was really thinking about all the different characters and the husband getting the divorce, it's actually an untold story of the man's side of the story when his world comes crumbling down. And basically, the storyline in the movie was, so the man works from home, the main character works from home. In the dream, it was Bradley Cooper. But obviously, in real life, if I was to make this movie in real life, it wouldn't be famous American actors. But I can't remember who the other actors were, but I know one of the main characters was Bradley Cooper. But it was the story of a man who works from home. So he raises the kids. So he's like a house husband, but he works from home, and his wife is like the executive. And she has to go away on this big important work thing, and he's left with the kids again. And just before she leaves, she hands him divorce papers and says she wants a divorce. And like, it comes out of nowhere, he doesn't see it coming. And she just says, we've been drifting apart, blah, blah, blah. And he's saying, but you're never here. Of course we're drifting apart. You're never here. You're always working. I'm here with the kids. You forgot the kids' birthdays, like all this sort of thing. So it's kind of like a role reversal. You're not the man I married because, like, and he's trying to defend himself, but it's like a role reversal. And he's devastated. He's like, I thought I was only, like the agreement was once you finish college and finished your internship, then I would be able to, I think he was a writer. then I'd be able to take the time to write my book and blah, blah, blah. And I've been looking after the kids, and don't get me wrong, like, I love doing what I'm doing. I have the best job in the world, but I've been waiting for you to spend time with me, and now you're asking for a divorce. Like that sort of thing. That's what he was saying. And because in the dream, I'm the director and I'm watching it all, and I was getting really moved by the scene. And then he kind of withdraws, and his friends don't know why. He kind of goes silent and his friends don't know why. And then one of them finds out, the missus has asked for a divorce. And so they're like, we need to go to him. So that the one, there's a batch. This is what I'm saying. It sounds a bit formulaic. There's the guy getting the divorce. There's the single guy looking for love. There's the happily married man, and then there's the eternal bachelor. And the happily married man, the eternal bachelor, and the single guy go running to their friend, and they do all sorts of I'm not going to go into it, to try and cheer him up, and like all hell breaks loose, kind of like The Hangover. It starts out with the best of intentions, but all hell breaks loose. And in the dream, I was sitting watching this scene being acted out in the kitchen when they all turn up at his house with his little kids running about in there, and it's really hilarious. Like, I was laughing in my dream. I was laughing, but I was laughing asleep as well, because I briefly woke myself up laughing at this scene in the kitchen being played out. And I was asking Ben Stiller for writing, directing advice, even though the movie that we were making wasn't anything like any kind of movie that Ben Stiller has made in the past, but he gave me incredible advice based on something his dad had said. Jerry, my dad used to say that, I'm not going into it, but yeah. But it was kind of, because in my dream I remember thinking, this this writing style is kind of like that movie I can never remember the name of. Like, this is what I'm actually thinking in the dream. And it's about those guys that go to the wedding, and there's a hangover, and like all hell breaks loose and blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, isn't this a bit formulaic? Like, it's a bit formulaic. And thinking, why am I having this dream? And then I woke up and I'm thinking, why did I have that dream? Because obviously I'm being showing it for a reason. So I've been sitting with it while kind of pointing my finger at Keir Starmer, at how right I was and everything. And thinking, well, why did I have that dream? And then I started like really looking at it from the main character's perspective, and it's like, it's flipping the script, because all the movies out there always talk about, the woman that gets left because the husband leaves her for another woman or whatever, and it's always about how she's dealing with being a single mum. But this is the other way round. How she's dealing with the divorce, how she's dealing with the rejection, how she's dealing with the asshole husband who's chosen money and image and more attractive over his loyal, loving wife. But this is the other way around. Some of the stuff that was happening in the dream was making me laugh in real life. Yeah. So he becomes the single dad. Because he's like, you're not taking the kids from me. And she's like, I don't have time to raise children. I've just made partner. And he's like, oh, wow. So you're not just divorcing me, you're divorcing the kids. And she's like, I'm not being dramatic about it. I'm trying to do you a favour by not dragging us through the family courts. You know, they're happier here with you, they're better here with you. Otherwise, I have to get a nanny and I have to do this and I have to do that. And I don't have time. I've got to be in, I think in the dream, she said Dubai. I've got to be in Dubai, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like it literally just comes out of nowhere. Is there another man? I'm not going into it, you know, blah, blah, blah. All this sort of thing. So then the friends come in and they're a bit immature, but loyal to this guy. The husband wasn't Bradley Cooper. The single guy was Bradley Cooper. And it was, yeah, kind of telling the story of life through the perspective of four best friends who went to college together, who grew up together, who stayed friends together, and how they deal with life through the eyes of love and the lessons that come with it. It was very American. Be making any movie in America anytime soon. They were all American actors. It was all very American, you know, just like The Hangover and all of that. But it ended up being like really sweet. There's like misunderstandings and unnecessary drama and kids acting out but in a cute comedy way, and yeah, interesting. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to call it. We'll just call it The Divorce for now. Probably already a movie called The Divorce. I'll think of a name. I don't know why they were all American actors. It looked like it was, you know, your typical average everyday American movie. But there's no way we'd be making a movie in America while Caligula's in charge. It's so funny how everything's playing out exactly how I said it would. The Russia video I made yesterday, literally within a couple of hours, everything started playing out. And then, what I say, France and the UK have seized a Russian oil tanker. So they're stealing oil. They're doing the Venezuela thing, because remember I said that was a dummy run. Trump's extorting the Middle East. Give me 5 trillion to keep the war going, or 2.5 trillion to stop the war, or something like that. Give me 5 trillion to defend the strait and 2.5 trillion to stop the war. So it's a whole extortion thing for the oil and gas. And like I said, the whole Venezuela thing was a dummy run, a test run. And that France and Germany and the UK and that getting involved was because they were getting ready to go after Iran and Russia. And then I make that video yesterday, and then literally hours later, everything I said starts happening, and now France and the UK have seized Russia's oil tanker. I'm getting so good at this now. I'm saying stuff, and then hours later, it's happening. Oh, praise the Lord, he's so good. He has an incredible sense of humour. His timing is comedic. Oh, Lord. Oh, But if I'm right about all of that, then I'm right about them all being done for war crimes. So don't worry about it. They all end up on trial, and some of them even get the death penalty. But that's not what this video is about, because like I'm done with I keep getting dragged in, and I'm done with it. And it's like I'm half expecting the king to turn up and say, "Can you help me? Could you help me fix this, please? You were right about everything. Tell me what to do." Get a knock on the door. His Majesty King Charles requests your presence at, where would he be? Windsor Castle, maybe? Tell me what to do. I'm expecting it, I swear. Tell me what to do. Oh, Lord. So, anyway, it's just hilarious because now we know why Starmer ends up in handcuffs. I've been saying for the longest time, I keep seeing him in handcuffs. Him and Lammy and about six other people. I said Starmer and 6 or 7 other people end up in handcuffs. Well, now we know why. It's for war crimes. Because the king is not gonna want to go down as the king who was on the throne when war breaks out to protect pedophiles. Because every man and their dog is calling this the Epstein War. No one calls it anything. Trump's trying to call it the fury of war fury or whatever it's called, but everyone calls it Epstein Fury War. It's the most comedically hilarious. If innocent people hadn't died, this in itself would be a movie. If one day this is ever turned into a movie, people are going to think it's a comedy. That's how comedically unplanned and badly thought out and horrendously, publicly, humiliatingly embarrassing this whole Iran thing is. And the only people that take themselves seriously are the American government, the fake Netanyahu that everyone knows isn't real, and Starmer and Macron. Oh, but like I said, you don't need to worry because it all ends up with them being done for war crimes. So, but now you can, like, it's like, oh, now everything I've been saying finally makes sense. So I'm expecting the king, honestly, a knock on the door. Miss Callahan, the king requests your presence at Windsor Castle. Tell me what to do. Just because of the dreams I've been having. Remember the one where I what I call it, the Endeavour dream, where I sailed off on the Endeavour, you know, the Abel Tasman ship, the ship that discovered New Zealand, and me showing the king in the dream about how to stab the great white shark and all of that. So I'm expecting it. Like I'm expecting, I don't know what I'm expecting. But something tells me I might not be going to Switzerland as soon as what I think I am, because I might have to stay back for a little bit longer and help the king or something. I'm expecting something. I'm expecting something. I'm expecting something to happen where someone's going to ask for my help. Start a new political. Remember what I called the new Labour Parliament dream, and the one that I had about Sherlock Holmes and all of that. So I'm expecting something where someone's going to be asking for my help. You were right. What do I do? Tell me how to fix it. I know exactly how to fix it. I'm going to have Britain celebrating within like 48 hours of Starmer being removed. Oh, Lord. But anyway, it's just so hilarious. I've been so spot on to the letter. But the thing that amazes me is the fact that I'm saying stuff now and it's happening within hours, whereas before I was saying stuff and it could take months or years for it to come to fruition. But everything's lining up. Oh. So now the whole becoming spellbound makes sense too. Because remember, it was Kierkegaard that goes to court first. Kierkegaard and his insiders go to court first, and then it was Baron von Crumple that gets extradited to go to court. And watching the lady on Sky News talking about the court case and how, and because I remember seeing specifically in the vision Baron von Crumple in handcuffs. And Kierkegaard trying to hide his face with all the lights flashing, the camera lights flashing, and trying to defend what he'd done. Yeah, trying to defend himself, but just looking weak and pathetic and embarrassing, and hiding his face. And I think I saw David Lammy squealing like a little stuck pig, like squealing like a pig, telling on everyone, throwing everyone under the bus to save himself, but them all just making like a spectacular ass of themselves. So it's in the movie Becoming Spellbound. It's everything I said. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so this movie, I mean, I'll put a pin in it. It's certainly, it's not going to be one of those movies that I would make immediately, but it's there as an option, I guess. I mean, it's there. But we could make it like a movie for TV, like a Hallmark kind of movie. Like I don't know where I'd be going with it, but it's there. So the fact that I had the dream means that it's important somehow, that it's going to mean something somehow. Otherwise, I wouldn't be dreaming about it. So it is there. So some of the scenes in the dream were funny. They were so funny that, like I said, I was laughing in real life while I was asleep, laughing in my sleep. I don't know what I'm going to call it. It's one of the ones that, I'll put in the file. Like the Y Woman and all of that. They're not ones that I'll make immediately. They're not like top priority movies like the Amber Rose or the Quantum Menace trilogy. But it's there. It's another one to add to the list. And I think it's beautiful because it's the whole reason why I created my dating app Spellbound was for men. Because I had a lot of male friends who had trouble looking for real women, traditional women, women who were just looking for, the white picket fence and the 2 kids and a dog kind of life. They wanted 10-foot men who made millions and were in K-pop groups and all that sort of thing. And all these men around me were just looking for real women to love who didn't have any baggage, who didn't start drama, who, didn't give them any games or anything. So I thought, well, if I come up with a dating app that these men can use, I can make sure through the algorithm that the women that they end up with aren't going to be, like the horror stories you get from Tinder and Grindr and all that. You hear, I watch YouTube, so I watch these stories about some of the horrible things that come out of people meeting people on Tinder and all that. So I thought, well, how can I ensure that men can go on these dating apps and not be taken advantage of? And that's when I came up with Spellbound. Because I'm a big advocate for defending men's rights. You know, like Fathers for Justice. And because I'm a victim of parental alienation from narcissistic abuse as well. So, you know, I've been treated like a lot of these men, so I have a lot of sympathy for them. I also believe in holding women responsible when they falsely accuse men of things like rape because of my midwife. Remember, I've told you the story about my boy's midwife, Jo, Auntie Jo, and her son was falsely accused at the age of 16, and it completely tore his life and his family's life apart, and it ended up that she'd lied about the whole thing, but I was giving her advice, and she was coming to me for reading. Well, I say readings, but I wasn't charging her or anything, but I was like her stalwart. I kept her and her husband hopeful that this nightmare was going to come to an end, and it went exactly the way I said it would, but it had completely devastated Jordan's life. People turned on him. He almost got run over by a car. Like, her stepfather, who was a cop, tried to run him over with his car, and it was all a lie. Like, she ended up having to admit in court that she'd made the whole thing up. So as a victim of sexual assault, this is why I take it very seriously, because I'm not being taken seriously because they're too busy dealing with idiots like her who are falsely accusing these men, and then there's no consequences for them destroying the men's lives. So I have a lot of sympathy for men. Even though I've been through the shit I've been through with my husbands and best friend and potential love interest and all that sort of thing, I'm not bitter and twisted about it. I know that like, I don't believe in tarring everyone with the same brush. Like, just because I've had some bad experiences with men, I'm not going to tar men with the same brush as my exes, because that's not fair. It's just that I haven't had the pleasure yet of meeting all the decent men out there, because I've been too busy having to fight the wars that all the evil ones caused me. But I have my Men of Valor range, which is all my products that specifically target men, that's going to raise money for the George Callaghan Trust, which is in honour of my dad, and it's the Veterans Trust for law enforcement, veterans of law enforcement, you know, first responders and the military. So, yeah, I'm a big supporter of men. So that's what I was thinking with this movie. Like, why did I have this dream? Like, it seems a bit formulaic and a bit like, but then when I started to think about it, I thought, well, this is really where it all started for me with the dating app, and that was, you know, wanting to make sure that men could find love in a safe environment. And men are going to be playing a huge role in my foundation, especially if I'm employing veterans first, and you know, they're going to be responsible for the security of my entire foundation and all that sort of thing. So it's a night, and then I've got my Saturday night radio, which is for men, with my Quantum Menace series, and the Soul Collector series, and the Quantum Menace sagas, and all of that for the radio. So yeah, as a single woman, I'm doing a lot to let men out there know that they do have that support, and not all women think they're the bad guys. So this movie is kind of like telling the flip side of how this sort of thing affects men, and how in this case she's the bad guy, she's the asshole. Because it does happen, trust me. There are women that do this sort of thing. There are women pedophiles. There are women that I was just watching a thing on, was it Ewu? I think it was an Iwi, a woman my age, 53 years old, propositioning a 17-year-old friend of her son's for the Shrek rules, and she got charged with offences and had to register as a sex offender and that. How embarrassing. She drove 2 hours, then tried to blame it on being drunk. So, there are women predators out there too. There are women arseholes out there too. So, I see both sides of it. And I have a lot of support for the men who are victims of this sort of thing. And I know because I've been a victim of it all too. So this movie, I'll have to write it in a way that any man watching it, they'll be able to understand it from each side of the 4 main characters. There were other famous actors in it, but I don't know their names in real life. It even took me a minute to figure out Bradley Cooper's name. So I don't know what I'm going to call it, but I think if I can write it the right kind of way, adding that sort of comedy in, any man watching it, whether they're married, single, getting a divorce, or the eternal bachelor, I think they'd be able to relate to the story. So, so that's another feather to add in the cap. And we'll see what happens with it. I'll think of a name. But, so there we go. Because I was thinking about I need to do one that's like How to Make an American Quilt, or this Sisterhood of the Travelling Pants sort of thing. But again, they're all about girls. All these movies about the woman's experience and the girl's experience, but there's never anything about the boy's experience. Not really, other than Stand By Me. So, here we go. Interesting dream. But I had it for a reason, so I'm documenting it. So I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.